I'm a friend of Jamie's, and she asked me to talk to you guys about the Enneagram. I'm an Enneagram coach, and I wanted to do just a really quick explanation of what the Enneagram is. Also, she has given me 3 questions. It's kind of like a teaser. Later on, we'll do another interview, and hopefully, we'll have a split screen so that Jamie will be here with me. And I'll give you more information and be able to answer any questions that you have. So, the first question she gave me is, what is the Enneagram? Well, the Enneagram is an ancient way of looking at life, an ancient way of understanding how we're all very different and how we all perceive the world differently. There are 9 basic personality types, but within that, there are thousands of different nuanced ways that we can see the world. The different types are broken down into categories, and they're really interesting in terms of how we take in information, how we interpret the information. And it's really helpful to be able to understand the way that we see the world, also the way that we perceive and motivate ourselves to act. So, for instance, we are motivated by a core fear. We are driven to do things or to not do things based on what we're afraid of or based on the things that we desire. So it's not always about whether or not I am an extrovert or an introvert. It's about whether or not I am afraid of being loved or not loved, or whether or not I'm afraid of failing, or whether or not I am afraid of life being out of control. So as we explore this further, you'll be able to see not just how you behave in this external world, but you'll be able to see why you behave the way you do and how that changes how you interact with others. Now, the second question, what can understanding the Enneagram do for you in life? And this is where, to me, it gets really interesting and valuable. It isn't just that you say, oh, look, now I can understand who I am. No, the best part is that if you can understand a little bit more about who you are, you can go toward the path of health. You can start to see some of the warning signs, like on the dashboard of your car, when that oil light comes on or when the check engine light comes on and you think, oh no, I need to get this looked at. Right? You'll be able to see some warning signs in your heart when you go to anger, or when all of a sudden you start to feel shame, when something happens and it's like a warning light in your life and you think, oh, this is not as it should be. And you can turn to the Lord and you can go toward health and you can run back to Him and you can repent. Instead of going toward the way of destruction. And we can all look at ways in our life, especially in the past, when we've gone toward that way of destruction. And we know that those habits are well worn in all of us. I know I'm not the only one who wakes up sometimes and thinks, what on earth was I thinking? I can't believe I did that again. I am grown. I am such a failure, or I am such a loser. What was I doing? Now I have to switch churches, or I can't believe I said that. How can I not control my mouth? Right? All of us have these tapes just running in our minds, telling us that we're imposters and telling us that we're fakes and we're losers and that we'll never be able to be who we were meant to be. And once we can understand where that tape comes from, we can hear that tape as the warning light on the dashboard. And we can know that that tape is the minute that we're supposed to turn back to the Father who loves us. So the Enneagram helps us in that regard. And that's what helps us go toward health and toward Christ. Now, the other way that this helps us, it helps us to love other people, because when we can see them and we can see their personalities for what they are, no, they don't have to be like us in order for the world to be okay. You don't have to have the same personality I do. I don't have to hold you to the same expectations that I hold myself to. I can free myself from having to be a pastor's wife who is just like my friend, who is the sweetest pastor's wife on the face of the planet. But she's very quiet, and there is nothing quiet in me. And that's okay, because God made me and God made her, and God called both of us to be pastors' wives. But being able to understand that on the Enneagram and being able to take that in and to appreciate it, and being able to understand that her quiet and my loud might both come from the same place, that's a beautiful thing. So it helps us to love other people just as they are. It helps me to get out of my own way. It helps me to love others. Now, the last question that Jamie asked me was, how can understanding other people's personalities help in business? Now, everyone from Harvard Business to Forbes Magazine, StoryBrand, which is Donald Miller, I would highly recommend you all read that one. All these different places will tell you the same thing. If you don't have emotional intelligence, you will not succeed in the business world. You can be taught a job. You cannot be taught sometimes how to read a room unless you know who you are, unless you can be humble enough to look at yourself, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and be able to know, what are the strengths that I'm bringing to the table? What are the weaknesses? And how can I know that when I am passionate about something, that it's shutting down this person over here? How can I know that I'm not speaking up because I'm being afraid? And when I do that, it's costing the company something. In terms of Young Living, this is really important, because what motivated you to get involved in Young Living is not necessarily what's going to motivate someone else to get involved in Young Living. So when you're trying to recruit for your team, you might be using a tactic that would work for somebody else, but wouldn't work for the person who's standing right in front of you, right? If you're trying to sell to a particular customer, what would work for one person might not work for another person, right? I'm not motivated by fear. If you're trying to use fear to get me to buy something, or guilt to get me to buy something, I will not buy it. In fact, I will run the other way and I will find a different Young Living distributor to buy from. But if you motivate me on principle, I'm there. I'll buy from you forever. So knowing who you're talking to and knowing how to motivate that person matters. And that is how you get a loyal customer. That is how you get somebody who will be on your team and who will be on your team forever. So getting to know that person, getting to know their story, and then getting to know how to help them to achieve their goals. That's how you can make a successful business. And that's how the Enneagram can help you, because it won't be about you. It'll be about you loving someone else and helping them to get what they want in life. Now, these are just a few teasers. I would love to be able to explore this with you in more depth. And hopefully next time we meet, you guys will have some questions for us and we could do something a little more interactive. So I look forward to meeting you all, and I hope you have a lovely rest of the day.